for us to understand burnout well, we have to understand it from the point of stress. Now, and if I may define, I want to start by defining stress.
Yes.
Before we even talk about burnout. Because when we define what stress is, then we get to understand what burnout is. Now, stress, our day-to-day lives puts on us certain demands. And we manage, we go through them. Now, when we are talking about stress, it's when we cannot manage or we cannot meet the obligations of the day-to-day demands, the demands that life puts upon us.
Yeah.
So we are struggling, we are struggling. We feel like it's too much. We feel like it's beyond what we can comfortably handle. Not that we don't handle it, we still handle it, okay? So it's the psychological, the physiological, which is our body, and then it translates into the behavior. So stress is basically how we respond to the demands that life puts upon us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
mm-hmm.
And when we talk about stress now, we feel like it's a little bit too much. Okay, then when this stress is prolonged and it's excessive, then there is a likelihood that we get into now what we call burnout.
So it starts as a tiny thing called stress.
Absolutely.
Like I cannot get a hold of everything.
Yes.
Things are, they say slipping off my fingers or hands.
Mm-hmm.
Then if I don't handle it,
mm-hmm.
it graduates to burnout.
It can graduate. And I'm not saying it always does.
Mm-hmm.
It can graduate to burnout.
Okay.
Yeah. So stress is when we feel like we're not meeting those demands, our inability to meet the demands. But now when it comes to burnout, it's where we've been exposed to excessive and prolonged stress. And one key thing about burnout is we start feeling hopeless, like we're not seeing an end to it. Okay. That's like, for example, let me give a quick example of you're working in an office environment.
Mm-hmm.
You see, this is your job. It's not like it's ending tomorrow. You have to keep working so that you can, meet the demands, like pay your bills and live and all that. So there's no end to it. As opposed to stress, we can have seasons of stress. Like maybe you have a sick child, your stress levels go up. You're facing maybe a project at work, your stress levels go up. When that project is over, you come back to a normal level of functioning.
Yes.
But with burnout, you're in a prolonged, excessive state of stress that you see no end to. Yes, so that is the difference. So for you to get to burnout, there is excessive stress and it is prolonged. So that should come out very, very, I hope that comes out clearly. And I hope that difference comes out. Yes. There is no burnout that is going to happen if we are not experiencing excessive amounts of stress. That we are not talking burnout. There's no way burnout can come in. Remember, even the person who is maybe overworked, maybe is above, like you're doing a job that you feel is under you.
Yes.
Someone may
underutilized kind of a thing.
So you're feeling underutilized. That alone can cause you stress. Can cause you chronic stress because you're like, I'm wasting myself. Will I ever get anything better? You see. So there is no burnout that is going to come if there is no excessive stress that has been prolonged.
Yes.
So when you reach burnout, remember some of the symptoms that we talked about. We talked about numbness.
Yes. Yes.
Because when we look at stress and burnout, some of the differences emotionally, for example, in stress, your emotions are reactive. You're in overdrive because you're trying to function, you're trying to achieve, you're trying to meet the demands. But in burnout, it's like you've tried and you have failed. So you become numb. When you become numb, we are looking at depression.
Oh.
So therein lies the relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, so at the end of burnout, you're likely to get into depression. Stress is inevitable, that I must say, because we cannot go through life without stress. Stress is actually, there's good stress, what we call eustress, and we need stress to function. Stress is actually good for our own survival. because without life putting stressors on us, we may not even get up to move. We may not even go to work. We may not even want to get out of bed. So there is good stress. Stress motivates us. Stress pushes us to act. Stress pushes us to protect ourselves. Now, when it comes to, because, I think when we talk about stress, people imagine just the negative aspect. Yeah, but there is a level of stress that is good for us.
Okay.
Yes, that pushes us to achieve our goals. On the other hand, burnout can be prevented. Yeah, burnout can be prevented. You don't have to get into burnout. Yeah, some people imagine that when you're just working, it's inevitable that you have to get to burnout. No, you don't have to get to burnout.
Okay.
It can be prevented.